If you own Bitcoin, you probably think you're already protected. Maybe you bought a hardware wallet. Maybe you moved your Bitcoin off an exchange. Maybe you even wrote down your seed phrase. And that's a great start. But here's the problem. Buying a wallet is not the same thing as having a security system. Your Bitcoin can still be lost, stolen, or become impossible to recover. And usually, it isn't because Bitcoin itself failed. It's because one small part of the security system failed. So today, we're going to build that system from the ground up. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what you need to protect your Bitcoin. Let's start with the first layer. Layer 1. Control your keys. The first rule is simple. If you're holding a significant amount of Bitcoin for the long term, you need to understand who actually controls the keys. When your Bitcoin is sitting on an exchange, the exchange controls the wallet infrastructure. You may see your Bitcoin balance on the screen, but you're trusting another company to give you access to it. And that's the opposite of financial sovereignty. Self-custody changes that. With self-custody, you control the keys. But that creates a new responsibility. Nobody is coming to save you. There is no customer support agent who can simply reset your Bitcoin password. There is no bank manager who can reverse a transaction. You are responsible for protecting the keys. And that brings us to the second layer. Layer 2. Protect the seed phrase. Your seed phrase is one of the most important things you will ever protect in Bitcoin. Think about your hardware wallet. It can break, it can be lost, it can be stolen, you can replace the device. But the seed phrase is what allows you to recover the wallet. That's why treating your seed phrase like an ordinary password is a huge mistake. Don't put it in your phone. Don't take a picture of it. Don't email it to yourself. Don't put it in cloud storage. And don't type it into a website because someone tells you that you need to verify your wallet. Your seed phrase should stay offline, and preferably, it should be stored in a durable form that can survive the kind of disaster you're planning for. Because security isn't only about hackers, it's also about fire, water, theft, accidents, and human mistakes. Which brings us to Layer 3. Layer 3. Don't create a single point of failure. Imagine you have one copy of your seed phrase. You keep it in your house. You know exactly where it is. You feel safe. But what happens if your house burns down? What happens if the backup is destroyed? Your entire recovery system could disappear in one event. That's called a single point of failure. The solution is redundancy. You need to think about what could happen and design your backups around those risks. That doesn't mean making 10 copies and leaving them everywhere. More copies can also create more opportunities for someone to find them. The goal is controlled redundancy, secure backups, protected locations, and a plan that makes sense for your situation. The important idea is this. One disaster should not be able to destroy your entire recovery system. Now let's move to another layer people often forget. Layer 4. Protect the human. You can have an excellent hardware wallet. You can have secure backups. You can have strong procedures. And still lose everything because of one careless decision. A fake website. A phishing message. A malicious application. Someone pretending to be wallet support. A person telling you that your wallet has been compromised and asking for your seed phrase. These attacks don't necessarily try to break the technology. They try to manipulate you. And that's why one of the strongest security rules is also one of the simplest. Never give your seed phrase to anyone. Not support, not a friend, not a family member, not someone on Telegram, not someone on Discord. not someone who claims to be from your hardware wallet company. Your seed phrase is not something you use to prove who you are. It is something that gives access to your wallet. Treat it accordingly. Layer 5. Create a recovery plan. Now imagine something unexpected happens to you. Your hardware wallet is destroyed. You can't access your normal location, or you're simply no longer available to manage your Bitcoin. What happens next? This is where a recovery plan matters. You don't just need to protect your Bitcoin from hackers. You also need to make sure the right person can recover it when necessary, without exposing the seed phrase today. That requires planning. Who needs to know that a Bitcoin recovery plan exists? Where is the information they need? What information should remain private? You don't have to make your system complicated, but you do need to think about the future. Because self-custody isn't just about protecting Bitcoin today, it's about making sure your security system still works tomorrow. Layer 6. Test your system. This is the layer most beginners completely ignore. They write down a seed phrase, put it somewhere safe, buy a hardware wallet, and assume everything works. But have you actually tested your recovery process? Do you know how your backup works? Do you know what happens if your device disappears? Do you know how you would restore access? A security system you have never tested is a system you don't fully understand. Testing doesn't mean exposing your seed phrase. It means understanding the recovery process safely. Know your wallet, know your backup, know your procedures, and know what you would do if something went wrong. Because the worst time to discover a problem is when you actually need the backup. The bigger picture. Now put all the layers together. You control your keys. Your seed phrase stays offline. Your backups don't depend on one location. You protect yourself from phishing and social engineering. You have a recovery plan, and you understand how to restore your wallet if something goes wrong. That's a security system, not one product, not one app, not one piece of hardware, a system. And that's the biggest lesson. People often ask, which hardware wallet should I buy? That's not a bad question, but it's not the most important question. The better question is, what happens if something goes wrong? What happens if your wallet breaks? What happens if your house burns down? What happens if someone tries to scam you? What happens if you lose access to your normal location? What happens if you aren't there to manage your Bitcoin anymore? If you have an answer for those questions, you're no longer just buying security. You're building security. And that's the difference, because in Bitcoin, there is no bank standing behind you. There is no customer service department that can magically recover your coins. There is only your system, your preparation, and your responsibility. So don't obsess over buying the newest wallet. Build a system that can survive mistakes. Protect your keys. Protect your seed phrase. Create secure redundancy. Protect yourself from people, and prepare for the unexpected. Because Bitcoin gives you something incredibly powerful: control. But control comes with responsibility. And if you choose self-custody, remember the Faboou rule. Because in crypto, you are the bank. Subscribe for more.